In the 3rd century BC, the Mediterranean was a chessboard of power, with city-states and empires vying for dominance. Amid this geopolitical game stood two superpowers, Rome and Carthage. Carthage, located in present-day Tunisia, was a flourishing maritime empire known for its formidable navy and affluent trade. Rome, ambitious and rapidly expanding, viewed Carthage as both a rival and a threat. This tension set the stage for one of history's greatest military minds, Hannibal Barca. Born in 247 BC in a family esteemed for both its martial and political prowess, Hannibal was the eldest son of Hannibal Barca, a renowned general and statesman. His childhood was steeped in the aftermath of the First Punic War, which had ended in Carthaginian defeat and harsh penalties from Rome. From a young age, Hannibal was nurtured not just on the stories of his father's exploits, but also on a deep-seated enmity for Rome. Legend has it that he swore an oath of eternal hostility towards Rome at the tender age of 9. Under his father's tutelage, Hannibal quickly mastered the art of war. His education was rigorous, encompassing not only military strategies but also the languages and political systems of various Mediterranean cultures. This comprehensive training prepared him to be a leader with an acute understanding of both allies and adversaries. By his teenage years, Hannibal accompanied his father on expeditions in Spain, a region under Carthaginian influence that was rich in resources. After Hamilcar's death, command passed to Hasdrubal the Fair, under whom Hannibal continued to serve, sharpening his military acumen. His capabilities did not go unnoticed, and after Hasdrubal's assassination, Hannibal, at only 26, was elected by the army as the commander-in-chief. His swift ascension was a testament to his charisma and skill, qualities that he would soon deploy against Rome. Under his leadership, Carthaginian influence in Spain solidified, but Hannibal's ambitions lay further afield. His sights were set on a bolder prize, the invasion of Italy itself. The campaign to invade Italy was fueled by both strategic and vengeful motivations. In 218 BC, Hannibal left Spain with an army of about 40,000 foot soldiers, 8,000 cavalry, and a small number of war elephants, a formidable force aimed directly at the heart of Roman power. The march towards Rome was to be a masterstroke of military audacity. The most perilous part of Hannibal's journey was the crossing of the Alps. The Alps, with their towering peaks and treacherous passes, were a formidable barrier, especially with an army that included not just soldiers but also horses and elephants. Winter was approaching, making the challenge even more daunting. Yet Hannibal pressed on, using both force and diplomacy to navigate the hostile tribes and harsh environment. This crossing took a heavy toll. Nearly half of his forces were lost to cold battles and the difficult terrain. However, the psychological impact of his arrival was monumental. The Romans had anticipated a fight in Spain or perhaps a naval battle, but Hannibal's presence in Italy was a shock that echoed through the Roman Republic. It demonstrated not just his military ingenuity but also his sheer audacity, setting the stage for the legendary battles that were to follow. Upon his dramatic entrance into Italy, Hannibal wasted no time. His strategy was not just to defeat but to demoralize and destabilize Rome by winning the allegiance of its allies. The first major engagement was at the River Trebia in December 218 BC, where Hannibal faced the Roman consul Tiberius Sempronius Longus. Employing a masterful combination of cunning and brute force, Hannibal lured the Roman forces into a trap. He hid a detachment of men in the nearby woods, who then ambushed the Roman troops as they crossed the icy river. The battle ended in a decisive Carthaginian victory, setting the tone for future engagements. The next significant victory came at Lake Trasimene in June 217 BC. Hannibal demonstrated his superior understanding of terrain by laying an ambush along the narrow pass by the lake. As the Roman legions led by Consul Flaminius entered the pass, Hannibal's forces attacked from the hills, causing chaos and panic. The Romans were hemmed in with no room to maneuver, leading to a catastrophic defeat with heavy casualties. This battle remains one of the largest and most successful ambushes in military history. However, it was at Cannae in August 216 BC where Hannibal's tactical genius reached its zenith. Facing a much larger Roman army, Hannibal employed the double envelopment technique. He deliberately weakened the center of his formation, drawing the Romans in. As the Roman forces pushed forward, Hannibal's cavalry outflanked and encircled them from behind, leading to a near-total annihilation of the Roman army. This victory was so complete that it has become synonymous with tactical brilliance, studied and admired in military academies around the world. Despite these groundbreaking victories, Hannibal's campaign faced significant hurdles. His success on the battlefield did not translate into the strategic political outcomes he had hoped for. Rome's allies largely remained loyal, limiting his ability to replenish his forces or secure substantial reinforcements from them. Furthermore, Carthage itself was hesitant to provide Hannibal with the necessary support, partly due to political factions within the city-state that underestimated Hannibal's needs and the opportunity at hand. Moreover, sustaining an army in a hostile country far from home bases posed enormous logistical challenges. Hannibal's supply lines were constantly under threat from Roman forces, and the Italian terrain, although initially an advantage, now became a barrier to his prolonged campaign. As the years wore on, the lack of fresh troops and materials began to tell, slowly grinding down the effectiveness and morale of his army. The turning point came after Cannae as Roman strategy shifted under leaders like Fabius Maximus, who advocated avoiding larger-scale confrontations with Hannibal, instead harrying him with small, constant skirmishes, cutting off his supplies, and directly attacking Carthaginian holdings elsewhere. This Fabian strategy frustrated Hannibal's efforts to bring Rome to a negotiating table. Eventually, the war in Italy became a stalemate, with Hannibal unable to deliver a finishing blow. This stalemate lasted until the Romans decided to take the fight to Africa, forcing Hannibal to return to defend Carthage itself. The decisive battle occurred at Zama in 202 BC, where Hannibal faced the Roman general Scipio Africanus. Unlike Hannibal's diverse and multicultural force, Scipio's army was well coordinated and heavily Roman, benefiting from years of combat experience against Carthaginian tactics. At Zama, despite some initial successes, Hannibal's forces were ultimately outmaneuvered and defeated. This defeat marked the end of the Second Punic War, significantly diminishing Carthage's power and marking the rise of Roman hegemony in the Mediterranean. After his defeat at Zama, Hannibal returned to a Carthage that was now a shadow of its former self. Despite the heavy terms imposed by Rome, Hannibal was not one to surrender to despair. He soon embarked on a new challenge, the reform of Carthaginian politics. He was elected to the office of suffet, or chief magistrate, where he worked diligently to reduce corruption and improve the state's financial health. However, his reforms threatened the old aristocratic order, and his enemies in the Carthaginian Senate conspired against him. As Rome grew wary of his new political influence, they demanded his surrender. Facing inevitable assassination or political persecution, Hannibal chose exile. He spent his remaining years advising various kings and rulers against Rome, never losing his strategic edge, yet never quite recapturing his former glory. Despite the ignominious end to his military career, Hannibal's tactical genius left a profound impact on military strategy. His maneuvers at Cannae, in particular, are considered a masterpiece of military art and are studied to this day for their brilliance in leveraging smaller forces to defeat larger ones. Beyond tactics, Hannibal's legacy also extends to the psychological aspect of warfare, where his crossing of the Alps remains a symbol of audacious ambition and determination against overwhelming odds. Hannibal's story is also a cautionary tale about the limits of military power. His victories, though spectacular, ultimately failed to secure a lasting peace or strategic advantage for Carthage. Instead, they set in motion a series of events that would lead to Carthage's eventual destruction in the Third Punic War. His life raises questions about the balance between military achievement and political success, and the role of leadership in navigating this delicate balance. Reflecting on Hannibal's life, we see a figure who was not only a military leader but also a profound strategist, statesman, and reformer. His ambitions brought him to the pinnacle of military success and also to the depths of defeat and despair. The themes of his life, ambition, resilience, and the cost of warfare, resonate through the ages. Hannibal's enduring mystique lies in his role as a challenger to one of history's greatest empires. He is remembered not just for what he achieved, but for what he dared to attempt. His story is a powerful reminder of how individual brilliance can challenge the might of empires, shaping not just the outcomes of battles, but the course of history itself. Thanks for joining us on this historical adventure. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more. Got a topic you're curious about? Leave your ideas in the comments. We might explore it in our next video. See you in the past.